SK's a known Blizzard shill. Oh, come on, bro. Can we just stop with this shill? Can we just, if you are a content creator, you like the game of Overwatch, so you're gonna have a passionate opinion about the good things Overwatch does and the bad things Overwatch does. Like, come on, guys. Like, obviously, SK enjoys Overwatch. Obviously, SK is going to have an opinion about stuff. And the fact that SK made a video about this probably means that this is a different topic. Like, I've been known to make videos on a different take, even if it's just playing devil's advocate. Community definitely influences enjoyment of the game, but game influences the community. That is true. I am a paid Marvel shill. My thoughts is that I think Overwatch is fun. I think there are aspects of the community that are really bad. I think things have snowballed because I think what happens is the game influences the community behavior. Community behavior influences community perception. And at some point, you have to break the cycle. Like, a community can fight the tide, but I do think the game has to make systemic changes to make the community perception better. So let's take a look here.
Like, when Overwatch 1 first released, everyone talks about Season 2 of Overwatch 1, the golden age where Overwatch is the most fun it's ever been. But if you look at that and compare it to the game now, it's so bad. But it's just because everyone was new and, I suppose, less bitter. And we were all just figuring things out for the first time. And that's what made it so great. But now...
We talked about this on stream yesterday with the Marvel Rivals discussion, where it's like, when the stuff is fresh, it's exciting, right? And people are more willing to paint it with a positive light and more willing to put more effort in. But the problem is that not only do people solve the game, but I think the esportsification of our community impression of games is we're less likely to take games casually and more likely to apply ourselves more. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's just something that started with esports. I don't know if that started with people like gamers, streamers, like all the streamers are like high level players, so everyone wants to be like the streamer now. But people optimize the fun out of everything. But I also think it's just the novelty is gone, right? And I think that, like, to prevent Overwatch to being a dead game, you need to make sure that, like, whatever, there needs to be motivation for improving and applying yourself. And then there also needs to be harsher punishments for negative behavior. And then there also just needs to be something to be exciting about. Like, I think this is pretty normal. Like, games go in up and down cycles where people are excited, people aren't excited. People are excited, people aren't excited. Right now, Venture's release was fairly exciting, but there isn't a whole lot of, like, especially with all the Roadhog, there isn't, like, a lot of, like, cool stuff, excited stuff, So, like, I don't think it's, like, it's not untrue, but it's also not something to be, I think, super concerned about, I don't know.
Now we've all figured it out, and everyone knows that.
No. Listen. As long as I'm making my 6 figures from Blizzard Overwatch, I'm gonna keep taking it, Mo.
It's the same thing with Overwatch too, right? Imagine a world where everyone wants to play team comps that work with each other. You don't have any one tricks. No one gets mad at each other. We all support each other. There's no throwers. No one's flaming.
The problem with that is it's like a lot of the reasons why people throw or are toxic is because people see other people and think that they're here's the funny thing. The biggest percentage of throwers in Overwatch are people that think other people are throwing and then throw. Without exception, that is a number one reason for people throwing the game, is they see somebody else pick the wrong character or play it the wrong way or make a mistake or they're not doing what I think they ought to be. And so they're throwing, so it's not worth putting effort in, without exception in all ranks. That's the irony there. That's the irony. So the problem is it's like, even asking, like, I want people to play, good comms. Well, then the problem is that everybody will agree with that statement. But you actually have to think about, like, why are people toxic? Why are people not playing the characters that they want them to play? You have to address those issues, and obviously you really can't. But it is worth, at least the conversation has to start there.
It's been the most amazing game ever.
Right, exactly. The whole Crimso interview with, like, the Overwatch League scrims, right? Why is Decay trolling? Because he thinks his teammates suck. Because he thinks his coach suck, and they're not putting in effort and they're not trying. Decay is wrong, but that's Decay's impression. So it's like,
regardless of the meta, if that happened, it's like, it's us that ruin it. I feel like that's the same for every game. Rust is another example.
It is true for every game. Rust is such a... The difference is that other games have different... this is a PvP game, right? So a lot of times, you're playing versus somebody else, but it's not just a PvP game. It's a team-based PvP game. So both the highs and the lows, you're going face first into it. I do think that there's things that you can do better to improve the culture of what you're doing. I think things like private profiles make things worse. I think things that, like, not showing your preferred characters is a big thing that needs to be done better. I think Overwatch in general has done a really crappy job of banning toxic people in voice and match chat. Like ironically, their account activity is super inconsistent. And I do think it is a cultural problem too.
Amazing game, but the way that people play it ruins it for everyone. Roof campers, people saying the N-word over voice chat constantly. People that play in groups of 30 but refuse to take any risks, so they sit up next to like a gas station and just farm it for the entire wipe and tech tree up. They basically don't play the game, they play one grid simulator. So not because of the game,
Never played
but
Dust,
because
but
the way
yeah.
the players have chosen to play,
Or Rust.
the game is incredibly boring because people won't take risks. They'll just win no matter the cost, even if there's no risk involved.
Well, that's the thing, is people are, as a rule, risk averse. So this is where you get into the systems. Okay, you guys you guys ready for the real spicy take? This should not be spicy. This is, I think, okay, maybe it's not objective truth, but I feel like it's true. This is why characters like Ana and Tracer and Lucio and Winston and Ryan are good for the game, because you can't exist and get value. Even Ana has to look for some form of proactivity. Your entire kit isn't around denying action. People are risk averse, so you can't lean into that more with Rissas and Roadhogs and Bastions and Idiaris and all these defense. I might get to a Reddit post later that I was going to review on my own, but maybe I'll do it on stream. It actually made me tilted, because somebody said it to me and it was like, bro, this is a joke. Because people were like, oh, Spilo doesn't like defense heroes. Yeah, jackass. It's bad Overwatch. It's bad Overwatch. It's bad. It abuses psychology that's all people already lean into anyway. But people, like, the thing is like, life is exciting when you take risks and do things and engage. But we're risk averse. So we have to be pushed outside of our comfort zone. And when we do, we're like, wow, I like the sunshine. It's great. It feels good. Yeah, screw off, Herloaf. But you see, the thing is, the difference between you, Herloaf, and the way you play Bastion, and the way the average gold, plat, bronze, silver, diamond player counter-swapping the enemy Winston instantly sits in the backline, plays Bastion, is night and day. You gotta do stuff. You gotta try stuff, right? And there are certain characters that lean into that. And that's where, like, okay, it's a community problem. It is a community psychology problem. But as a game, you can be aware of that and counteract that with action, with balanced decisions and hero designs and systemic things. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is like, being AFK isn't even like it doesn't even make you necessarily a good player, but it feels good, right? Like, you think about, like, they're talking about, like, all the people in Dust or Rust, like, AFK camping, like, that's probably like a noob stomper strategy, you know? But it doesn't even have to be effective for people to want to do it, is the thing. It's not even like a cheese to be really good at the game. It just feels good, you know? How many times have I said that with tank balance, you know? If something feels good, even if it doesn't win you the game, people are going to do it. And that's what you have to address. Just because, oh, well, it's just a skill check. Well, gee, that makes me enjoy the process so much more. Screw off, man. If you allow people to feel good
like
playing poorly or not taking risks, then your game design is bad. Even if the higher ranked players are rewarded through wins, winning isn't enough of a reward in a game environment. You heard me. It's not enough of a reward.
I think. Like, comp games just suck because of us. like it's the players that ruin better.
Great timing.
That's why comp is miserable in every single game you ever play. No one has been able to figure it out. You can punish players all you want, but you can't stop them from making 50 different accounts and avoiding the punishment and always, like, being a problem. Fighting games have a good community, mostly true, but there's also people that intentionally...
You can't stop them from making other accounts. Chat. This is where you get systemic issues. You can't stop people from making accounts. That is true. But you can encourage them and motivate them to play on their main account. If that's something that leads to better quality games, and it might, how do we do that? How do we motivate? What are some external rewards? What are some systems that we can incorporate that encourage that better? That's how you fix the overall issues with Overwatch outside from balance. You know what I'm saying? You could do things like that. There's certainly ways that you can motivate players to play. Yeah, happy Idiari.
So that they have an advantage. There's people that unplug their internet so that their loss doesn't count as a loss. Like, some people smell bad.
Not
like,
me.
no matter what, there's always
It's all
someone
great.
ruining something. Think about how many good things we've had to lose because some people will abuse it. Like, you know the reason that we can't have reduced loss for when you have a lever in comp? It's because people will queue with their friends and just leave the game if they start losing so their friend loses less. So many good things.
So then is there another system that they could do around that? I would have to talk with Gavin about this, but what if you are not, you get only reduced stuff in bronze, certain ranks if you're not grouped? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we could address that. You know, we could.
Or people that play Tarkov and watch Netflix and sit in a bush for 30 minutes until they hear footsteps and then they shoot them.
But see, that's a system problem. That's a system problem. A cheater obviously is built to go around the system, and obviously there's ways of dealing with that, I guess, but like that's obviously a constant war. But like if a gameplay rewards camping, then that's a system problem. That's a system problem. Seeing through walls, got it.
Or people that lie at the extract with a sniper rifle, waiting for other people to play, watching TikToks or something, and when they hear footsteps, they stand up and shoot them, get the freeze kill of their lives, and steal all the stuff that person.
Because you look at that kind of person that does that, and I remember this back in the Call of Duty camping days and modern. That's not fun, right? It's fun in the sense that like, what the frick is happening to my rug? Okay, it's fun in the sense that like, oh, there's that little dopamine hit of getting a kill. But it's the fun in the same way of like doing heroin, right? It feels good now, but it doesn't really, there's no sense of long-term satisfaction or development, right? And so you literally have to create the system that discourages that, not just for the sake of the people that have to play versus that. But you ready for the crazy part? You need to prevent that for the cheaters. For the cheaters. Because they're not enjoying that long term. They're having existential dread in the middle of the night, right? That doesn't, they're missing out on the most satisfying part of gameplay. Like, how many of you guys ever played a FromSoft game and struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled and then won? And it's just a feeling that you cannot replace. And there's so many people. This is where I'm gonna get on my boomer pants here. Whether it's the TikToks, the dang Zoomers, and the dang kids, everything is instant gratification. Instant gratification. And there's no like long, like, dude, like nobody knows what it's like to work hard for something and actually achieve it and how good that feels. You're screwing yourself over. You're screwing yourself over. You're missing out on so many cool things. And SK is totally right. It's totally right. This is like a societal problem. Hey.
You were having a rager today.
Yeah, I mean it's rough, man.
A lot of raging from you.
It's like it's they're missing out, man. They're screwing themselves over. And they don't even know it. You know, they don't even know it. They don't even know it.
Got for playing the raid. It's the people. Cheaters in Overwatch. How many times have we lost to a cheater without even knowing? In all of my Overwatch spectating cheater videos, there's people in the comments that are like, oh no, they're not cheating. What? Streamer's just mad that she lost. And it'll be like the most blatant aimbot you've ever seen. How many games have these people lost to cheaters and they don't even know? Or people selling accounts in Overwatch or Fortnite. How many games have you had ruined by someone who bought an account? Or paid?
Bro. The people who smurf and buy accounts are like another great example of that. Imagine smurfing. Like somebody who's constantly doing unranked GMs. Bro, you're missing out on the struggle of like actually sweating and playing in a competitive environment and feeling that sense of progress. Like you're beating up on lower ranked players. Not only are you ruining their games, you're ruining yourself. That's not fun. It's fun in the same ways that doing a line of cocaine is fun. It's not enjoyable. Go eat some Tic Tacs or you know, snort some sugar or something. Like it's like having a good steak versus a bowl of Fruit Loops. You get what I'm saying? Like, give me a break. And the people that buy these accounts that like are in like they buy the account to get to Grandmaster and they never play in it, right? Like, what's the point of being Grandmaster? You didn't earn it. That's not fun. That's like the people that, dude, people edit their pictures on social media. It's like, make themselves look jawlines like as good as mine, you know? And it's like, bro, that's not you. Go lose some weight, lift some weight, like go cut some grass, you know, get a haircut. Be the person you want to be. Like, that's the fun. And people will do that. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I do get it. The path of least, but it's like, it's insane, man. And people just screw themselves over. Unbelievable.
Paid for a boost from someone that on their own account, and like they didn't deserve it, and it's
like,
so
right, exactly,
so
boosting. Like, dude, imagine being boosted. Like, how hollow does your life have to be?
I lost 100 pounds in college. It taught me
dude, that's
there
insane.
Are no shortcuts. It was
good
hard,
for
but
you.
The most valuable thing I've ever achieved.
Good for you, mate. I mean, I bet that there's like a level of like maturity and discipline, and just the thing is, people think that like hard work is always miserable. It's not, though. It's not, and it feels so good when you do something good. Like, I'm the biggest proponent of hard work smarter, not harder.
Other people because of their profile.
But man, some people just need to work.
Now we can't check anyone's profiles. We can't see what other people play to pick around them because we had to add this feature because people are being assholes. Like, you could actually go on forever about how we all ruin our own game.
But see, I disagree with SK. Was that like, was private profiles necessarily the solution that was necessary for that problem? And I don't really know.
It's just so doomed. Like, I get on here every single day and I suffer for 4 hours to get the one game where everyone's talking and we don't have a one trick. And everyone wants to pick the right heroes and play a team comp and work together. And that one game makes it worth it. But I have to sit here through...
But I agree with the one trick thing. I mean, I understand. But see, even I don't, like, you even have to be careful of that argument. Because, like, now SK's saying that I only enjoy the game if the people play the characters that I want them to play in a composition. But like, part of the fun and the challenge is being like, all right, well, we're playing this with that. And like, all right, I remember back in the days, like, I don't think this is necessarily a great example, but it is kind of food for thought where I used to kind of enjoy solo taking before role lock because it was like a unique challenge. I'd play like Ryan. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of it is like your mentality when I approach to things. It's like, so now are we going to flame people for not playing the right comps? And then we're creating the toxicity that we're complaining about. Like, okay, is there a way to encourage people to not one trick only without necessarily the social pressure? Like, I don't know.
4 hours of stomps and one tricks on shitty maps and misunderstandings and people flaming.
I do agree with having a one trick on a really bad map, right? Like, even when I'm doing the whole one trick Winston thing, like, I'm not going to play Winston into Bastion on Circuit Royale. You get what I'm saying? Because that there's no world in which I can adapt to that. But that also comes back to game design too. Why is Bastion a character? Why is Circuit Royale a map, right? So I think that these problems are fixable.
Over the scoreboard just so I can have that one match that finally feels good. Oh my god. And the worst part is it's actually worth it. Imagine if every game was like that dream. Oh, Overwatch would be so good. How many times have I queued into top 20 Overwatch lobbies all day for hours on end with professional players in there and just not had anyone talk. It's supposed to be the pinnacle of ranked. We don't even calm. This is GM4 right now. This is literally top 100. No one has.
Okay, to be fair, communication is a little overrated, even in a scrim environment. But I get it. I get it.
How many times I was ranked 14 the other day, solo queuing every game, and like 3 games in a row, I was the only one in voice chat. The only one. What? Crazy.
TTV/Echo.
It's funny because we burn ourselves out because I don't join voice because there's that one guy every 5 or 6 games that flames the ever living crap out of me for something totally stupid. And so I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have fun with that, right? And so now it's like that one bad apple, like SK is saying, ruins the whole bunch, you know?
Cool of the Overwatch ranked ladder. You would think the higher you get, the better your games
get. And it ruins the day. Like, it really ruins the day. It ruins the day. And I'm so sick of this argument of like, oh, you guys couldn't have handled it back in like the Modern Warfare 2 days. Like, we were calling each other the N-word and like flaming each other. And it's like, yeah, you get used to stuff the more it happens, but it doesn't make it any better. Like, it's not like, oh, there's good comps. Like, oh, you'll get used to the abuse once it happens more. Okay, then why am I in voice? Why am I in voice? If the abuse is happening so frequently that I get used to it, then why am I in voice? What's the point? It's like when you go to the gym and you dislocate your elbow, you'll eventually get used to it. Well, maybe I shouldn't go to the gym if I'm dislocating my elbow so often that I'm gonna get used to dislocating my elbow. It's unreal. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. Right? Where am I?
Everyone in the lobby is a pro, but we have a Mercy one trick or a Lifeweaver one trick, and they're playing dive, and we just instantly lose.
But you see, that's a hero design problem. When characters are so niche that they only work on certain situations and are terrible in others, that is a hero design problem. Or you need to find a way to encourage people to not one trick systemically. I don't think socially there's a really good way to do it safely. I don't know what it is. The purpose of Bamper is to test people's emotional stability, right?
Like, yeah, oh my god. Or if you have a feminine voice, or you have like an accent that people make fun of, or you kind of sound gay.
Am I the only one that's just seen this? Look at the Overwatch logo. Look.
Or edit this. You just can't talk NPC because you get fucking bullied.
How have I just never seen that?
Like, if someone calls me a slur, I'm not even phased. That is just normal. Fucking wild. Or if you play a hero that people don't like,
sorry,
like
guys,
if you one trick Wrecking Ball, you just get flamed every game, even if you're hard carrying. Okay, this is a really long time ago, but in season 3.
Did you just hear what SK said about the Wrecking Ball thing? The irony is that SK was just kind of complaining about the Life Weaver Mercy. Now, I understand Wrecking Ball, Life Weaver Mercy, like apples to oranges, right? Like Wrecking Ball, I think, has a much higher skill expression. But that's exactly what I'm saying is we're leaving that up to interpretation. Like, what's a one trick that is underrated? What's a one trick that's overrated? And like, it's hard when you leave that up too much to an interpretation.
Overwatch 1, Torbjorn was like...
See, I don't stare at it. I'm too busy grinding deathmatch or taking walks or like, you know, adopting children. You know, I'm doing like real stuff.
And I was playing on a Torbjorn only account, and I got season banned because I got reported so much. I had like a 70% win rate because I was fucking smurfing. There was a game where I had like, I had every gold medal known to man, and I know gold medals don't matter much, but seriously, every single kill in the kill feed was me because I'm playing Torbjorn in like a silver lobby, and my entire...
Don't even get me started about Venture. I got the avoid message when I was learning Venture, even though for the first like 20 games I had a 65% win rate. I got the you're being avoided a lot, right? Because I wasn't popping off in stats because I would be like the way Venture was played versus certain comps is like really heavy distracting on backline, right? And then I would just basically create. It also happened with Pharah too because everyone counter-specs Pharah, so I would just like live, force them to all swap hit scan, and then just harass, distract, and it was like people just don't get it, you know.
Your team was flaming me, and they said
I don't think the scoreboard needs to be changed that much. I don't think there's a single stat that will actually give relevance to the scoreboard. I think like healing received, there's a couple of stats that could improve it, but I just think it's always going to be problematic.
My whole team said report me in the chat for throwing after we lost. I was the only one doing anything. I was smurfing, I was carrying them. People are so dumb. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh my, what happened over there? Wait, I'm crazy.
Well, that's exactly it, Winter Duck. That's exactly it. It's like that's the irony of psychology, right? Like I can't imagine SK is flaming people for picking the wrong character at all. But I will say, look at can you guys see this comment? This is the best part about this. Look. Can we please play with our team, please, at DPS? Look at that. This is a GM! Don't know how the game works. We had Bap and Lucius stacked with the Roadhog. Cassidy Soldier actually taking an angle, and neither support went with them. They both died, and we're wondering why they're dying.
Yes.
Look!
I was the only one doing anything.
The only angle.
Smurfing, I was carrying them.
And Bap, Lucius are stacked. SK needs to be on the angle. This is a shorter sight line for Lucius. It's a perfect range. Plus, you're helping 2 DPS. You're not going to be speeding a Roadhog in or out. It's a freaking Roadhog. So, but this is my point exactly, right? You got to create a system where even smart people like SK, you know?
Wait, oh my, what happened? See, I say that, and then my Bap is already complaining to after first fight. What do you mean you really have to be stacking, or I don't know. The state of the game is just so sad.
Yeah, you hear what SK just said? Yeah. Because like, we don't really have to be stacking here.
It's not because of the devs. It's because of us. I'm contributing to it too because I'm just so used to calming and no one else talking that I've actually given up. If someone doesn't talk before me, then I just don't talk. Okay, we were on an honorable Roadhog mirror, and they went Mauga to counterswap my hog after losing one fight. It's not the devs.
But see, because why do you think they counterswapped? 95% of the time, when people, that's actually not even close to true, but I would say a large percentage of the time, people counterswap through people telling them to. Whenever I play tank, literally 75% of the time, it's people telling me to swap, not feeling like I have to swap. I agree, Poke. Right. And the best part about it is when it's an obvious counter swap situation like tank, right? Bro, everybody gives up. I had that one Numbani game on Thursday when I was playing Winston into like Cassidy Reaper or something like that. Bro, they were livid that I was playing Winston on Numbani on high ground on first and second point. And my team is running Genji, they were on Bastion, sorry. Genji, Sombra, Ana, Kiriko. Like the perfect anti-Bastion cop. Angles and poke and high ground. Like lots of characters like the ult. And my DPS and supports refuse to take an off angle the entire game because they're too busy typing to me to swap. They're too busy typing to me to swap. When I'm literally on backline, zapping, disengaging, perfectly over and over, not perfectly by any means, you guys know my Winston, right? But like I'm actually doing my job, right? I'm not dying, I'm not demanding resources all the time, but I actually lost that game because my teammates were mad at me for playing Winston. And that happens to me all the time. whenever I'm playing Winston. That happens a lot with, I was saying the other day, when people are playing Wrecking Ball, people don't like Wrecking Ball in lower ranks. So there's I would say about 5 to 10% of Wrecking Ball games are lost by lower ranks because of them just playing Wrecking Ball, because people don't like to play Wrecking Ball.
It's us. It's us. Oh my god. And the mob is losing after counter swapping. But why would you swap off in a mirror to counter swap someone? That's so lame. Free to play? No. I don't think it's free to play.
I agree. I don't think it's free to play either.
It's so hard to fix too, because it's like a culture. Honestly,
part of it's a culture.
I think the biggest thing is the pro scene. But I do, at the very least, in really high ranks, the biggest thing that has made people not try anymore, or not calm, is the pro scene. Like, in Valorant, it's the same thing has happened to Valorant as well. When the pro scene was amazing, and everyone wanted to be a tier 1 pro, and anyone could make it. Franchising wasn't a thing. You could actually just win your way to the top. Ranked was...
I don't necessarily agree with the conclusion there, I'm not really sure, but I do agree with the sentiment that having some form of motivation does generally make people try a little harder. Although that does lead to a little bit more toxicity, people trying harder, I get it. But again, if it mattered that much, wouldn't people just be counter swapping even more? At least until we fix, because you got to be very careful with that, right? Like, it's a very perfect balance. That's why I'm like looking at this from more like a holistic, systemic way. Because if you're like, oh, we need to have more external motivators for people to play rank, well, then now people counter swap even harder, get even more toxic, get even more mad at the one tricks, right? Oh, we're gonna take no incentives, so that people are like way more relaxed with. Okay, now nobody's coming, nobody cares. People are leaving games left and right. You know what I'm saying? That you can't really fix the issue just from that.
It was
little,
amazing.
Microcosm.
In Valorant,
like
you had people calming every single game. You had people trying really hard. It was actually exceptionally rare to have a team that had even 1 or 2 people not talking. Everyone cared so much. The ranked leaderboards was like the best of the best players on their main.
I do agree that in general, leaning into competitive is good for like making things competitive is good. Anyway, I hope that you guys kind of like, I've thought about that a little bit. I think that the way that you have to deal with this is that the community is a reflection of the game's culture, and the game's culture is a reflection of the game's system. And this system is a reflection of the developer's decisions. And I think that a lot of this stuff is not even Overwatch 2 unique by any means. In fact, I'd say most of this stuff isn't. Private profiles, lack of in-game motivation, hero design, so on. And novelty for sure. So I think that when you look at these, you have to address those root issues like we talked about before to motivate people to not be toxic, to motivate people to be positive, to motivate people to play a character that can function in different situations and to take risks with what they do. You'll never fix the issue, because part of the issue is just, like SK said, human nature. But you could definitely improve the situation. You can end up.